So if we draw a line right here, right along here. Right, come back into Northern Territory.
Yeah.
All right. I'll race you to South Australia. Go. Oh, that looked like a draw. I tell you what, sweetheart.
Yeah.
I'm going back to the Northern Territory.
Okay.
Okay, here we are, the border between the two. We've got one heck of a journey still ahead of us. We'll pick the GAN back up and head south. Let's get them.
Back on the GAN, life goes on, with the staff taking care of up to 350 people at a time. They call them guests, not passengers, because they consider the train to be accommodation on the move, a restaurant on wheels, and a travelling home away from home. We've stopped in the middle of the night, in the middle of nowhere, but believe me, it's going to be worthwhile. The train's taken on a few passengers for the last part of the journey, and we're about to take a side trip to visit one of the Outback's most unusual communities on our way to the biggest lake in Australia. We'll be driving to Lake Eyre National Park via the mining town of Coober Pedy. Out here amongst the vast open spaces, you sense the timelessness of this ancient landscape. It's red dirt country, parched, hot, and very much the same from 1 mile to the next. A whopping 70% of Australia is arid, dry as a dead dingo's carcass. Every now and then, you'll see something that stuns you. It's a sign of water, and sometimes it seems to come from nowhere in natural wonders known as mound springs. A vast supply of underground water is hidden in the rock deep below the desert surface. It's called the Great Artesian Basin, and these springs are among the rare spots where the water reaches the surface and bubbles out naturally. They're like an oasis in the desert, and the minerals they carry up from the depths of the earth solidify at the surface, lifting the springs above the surrounding landscape. Who would have thought that way out here in the middle of the desert that there'd be water?
I know.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Look how that's just bubbling up.
Have a go at this. Way out here in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the desert, is water just bubbling straight up out of the ground into these mounds, forced up out of the ground in these weaknesses. Boom, out she comes, flows down like a little creek, and then seeps back into the sand. Good drinking water for everyone that lives here.
Yeah.
The Outback's also known for enormous deposits of valuable minerals, and in a few places, precious gemstones. The name Coober Pedy is an Aboriginal word that actually means white men down holes, and that's what this entire mining town is all about. 80% of the people live underground. Houses, shops, motels, even a church, all underground with the mines that produce fabulous opals.
This is amazing. This section up in here has actually been cut into a hill made of rock. Now we're going subterranean, mate. We're going underground. Isn't this just amazing the way they've carved this out? This is the Desert Cave Motel, the only international motel that's completely underground. Amazing. Purpose-built with rock cutters cut through. We're at Coober Pedy, the opal mining capital of Australia, and virtually everyone lives underground here in the old part of Coober Pedy because it's hot, very, very hot. Once you get down underground, it's a very nice, cool temperature.
Daddy, what's this?
Well, babe, this is how they cut through the rock, I'd say. It's a little crawler tractor like a bulldozer with a cutting edge on the front of it. And you can see that's about the slice that they cut out.
Yeah.
You know, these miners, these opal miners, are some of the most innovative people you've ever met in your life. And it's a risky business. There's quite a big hospital here at Coober Pedy as well, for good reason. But I tell you what, they can turn their hand to anything. Give them a piece of metal and they'll turn it into opals.
Most of the world's gem-quality opals come from the Coober Pedy mine.
Cut a big hole straight up, so that's how far we are below ground level. Probably around about 15, maybe 20 feet.
Some really, really tough, pioneering types came out here into the centre of Australia and etched out not only a living, but some of them made an absolute mozza, a fortune, under the ground and in the side of these hills. Who would have thought that in amongst this dry, hard rock and gravel would be one of the most precious stones on earth? Myself and Bindi just rescued this beautiful little bearded dragon. You want to grab some water too, sweetheart?
Yeah.
Great, good on you. Off the road, we saved his life. Very naughty little lizard, you. Very naughty. So we're going to release him over here, kilometres, miles away from the main road where he's sure going to get killed. We'll just put him in here. Now, this is the bearded dragon. Very, very common. One of the most common lizards found from one corner of Australia to the other. Beautiful. You can see why they call them bearded dragons. They've got that beautiful beard. They puff themselves up like a big old toad when they get excited. You can see he's all puffed up. And that scares away predators. It's got excellent coloration. Nice, big, black beard. Big, strong jaws designed for chomping insects and herbage. Virtually any green leaf flowers, the yellows and the purple flowers, loves to eat them. And he's in great condition, really good fat tail. Now, there's one thing that he might like, and that'd be a bit of a drink. Oh, he's licking it. Keep it coming. He can have as much as he wants.
You like that, don't you?
Fantastic. Well, that's fantastic. Good little drink. Saved your life. Now you won't get run over by a car on that busy old road out there. Hey? Okay, we're going to let you go right here. Now, you hang on. Which branch will we put him on? This one?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you camouflage in. Good lizard. Sensational. Wherever we go, we never miss a chance to help out the wildlife. And thankfully, we saved this bloke's life. The true outback of Australia is one of the most barren stretches of real estate on Earth. It's a long way from one feature to the next, but the drive's well worth the experience. Lake Eyre National Park is 5,000 square miles, and it includes Australia's biggest lake. We're driving along part of the legendary dingo fence, 5,500 miles of chain wire to keep dingoes and wild dogs out of grazing land. The success of the dog fence has been limited, but it's enough to be worth the money to keep it in a reasonable state of repair. After all, it is the longest fence in the world. Flat and featureless red and brown dirt eventually gives way to flat and featureless white salt. And lots of it. This is Lake Eyre, but like most of its known history, it's a vast, dried-out salt flat. It's been full of water only 5 times in the past 150 years, but whether it's full or empty, Lake Eyre is an impressive spectacle. Have a look at this. You know, South Australia is chock-a-block full of salt lakes. None as big as this one. This is Lake Eyre, the largest salt lake in Australia. Big heaps of river systems flow straight into here. She fills up about every few decades or so. What on earth are you doing?
Licking it.
What's it like?
Salty.
Is it now?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that is salty, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if animals come out here to lick it. Aren't these salt lakes just amazing? Absolutely amazing. Beautiful, and yet quite hostile to all wildlife and vegetation. However, there is a couple of species that do handle the heavy saline conditions, and that would be an ant species, and what eats them? A little dragon, tiny little lizard about this big, called a Lake Eyre dragon. It also gets extremely hot, like super hot, so the ants have devised techniques to get under and seek refuge, and what the dragons do is they stand on 2 feet, cool 2 feet off, stand on these 2 feet, cool 2 feet off, stand on them, so that they're constantly changing their feet so they don't burn off. Great place, Igby. Our next stop on this